Alright, what's up guys? My name is Zach and today I'm driving a 1990 Nissan Pulsar. Up front is a 2.0 liter turbocharged inline 4 and down below is a 5-speed manual transmission.
This video is sponsored by CarMarshal.com. If you'd like to support the channel, click the link down in the description below. CarMarshal.com advertises for over 100,000 vehicles across the US.
Let's get back to that 2.0 liter. It is the SR20 that everyone has come to know and love, but it's slightly different than every other SR20. This motor actually has solid lifters instead of hydraulic lifters, and there's some other minor tweaks the 240 boys will know, of course, but that's not the most interesting part about this car. It is a 5-speed manual, that's cool, but it is all-wheel drive. I think that is absolutely insane that this little hatchback is all-wheel drive, turbocharged manual monster. And it's like that from the factory. That's part of the GTI-R sort of deal. This was a Group A rally car that was homologated and sold to the public for, reasons. This thing is so fun to drive. It handles like a go-kart, of course. It has that really short wheelbase, or at least shorter than you're probably used to, but it has all-wheel drive. It has mechanical 50/50 all-wheel drive, and it really pulls you. This feels like a smaller R32. It really, really does. And of course, it has the little boost noises. I'm used to driving little hatchbacks like this and having them kind of pull you along with that front wheel drive, but honestly, if I didn't know better, this feels almost rear wheel drive. It doesn't feel like a little front wheel drive, pulling you along. It actually genuinely feels like a sports car, and that's what I think has always been lacking from hot hatches. I love hot hatches, I love Volkswagen GTIs and all of those cars, but they don't really feel like sports cars because they feel front wheel drive. But this doesn't. It actually feels rear wheel drive, which I absolutely love. So this is the first time I've ever actually driven an SR motored vehicle of anything. And honestly, it's a great motor. It revs to 7,500 RPM. It kind of feels like a turboed Honda motor. I know Nissan guys might get a little mad at me saying that, but I'm not saying that in a bad way at all. It's super fun to rev out. It has all the power, and it definitely has low-end torque. Of course, it is a 2-liter, so it has more torque than a Honda motor, but just the way it feels, it wants you to beat the crap out of it, and I will gladly do that. So let's talk about the interior. Well, in front of me, I have pretty plain gauges. Nissan of the 90s, they're known for having a very bland interior. And because this is the GTI-RB, this is the more racing version, and so we don't really get many creature comforts. We have roll-down windows, no power locks, no air conditioning, no ABS. This is a race car. I mean, this really is the stripped-down version, so this interior is not going to have a whole lot. I do have a very nice GTI-R steering wheel. That is a nice little touch. I really like that because, of course, it sets it apart from other cars. And then in the center, I do have some vents, some factory gauges, interestingly enough. Boost, oil temp, and water temp, those are the factory gauges. Like I keep mentioning, this is really a race car. And then I do have climate control options, my hazard switches, and the shifter, which the shifter is really tall. This is not the factory shift knob or shift boot, but it still sits really tall from factory. I am sitting in a Recaro seat. This is not the factory seat. Of course, it's been switched out because, of course, race car things. Now we gotta talk about the looks. I think this thing looks absolutely aggressive. I love the hood scoop. I love the look of it. It looks to me European, maybe like a Peugeot or something like that. It doesn't look like anything I've ever seen before, which really drew me to the car initially, but the SR is what made me stay. But I think it looks great. And what's interesting is that there's no Nissan badge on it. The stock back would have Nissan badges, but the front just has its own badge, its own thing. It didn't have a Nissan badge at the front. It's sort of like Corvette does their own thing and Mustang does their own thing. And I think that that's really, really cool. Overall, I think this car looks absolutely fantastic. It looks aggressive, and it's a lot wider than I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be this tiny little economy car with some good bits put into it, but really, it's a wide little thing. So I keep mentioning that this is a race car. So part of Group A rally rules is that if you want to race a car, you also have to sell a certain number to the public. And so what auto manufacturers end up doing is they literally sell road legal race cars just so then they could race these on the Group A rally circuit. So really, the only reason this car exists is so Nissan could race these in Group A rally, which is kind of hilarious to me. It's not cheating the system, but sort of cheating the system. And you know what? We got an amazing, amazing car out of that deal. So there was the RA and the RB. The RA had more creature comforts, power windows, air conditioning, things like that. The RB was the more purpose-built. This was the stripped-down race car from the factory. It had lighter doors because of no power windows. All that stuff makes it lighter and thus a better performer, honestly. And so if you're into fun, spirited driving, you don't care about any creature comforts, this is the car to get. Speaking of which, there's not many in the US. This is a very, very rare car to find in the US. I had never seen one before this morning when I pulled up, and I had never driven one, obviously. Pulsars are rare as it is, but the GTI-R, this is the crown jewel. This is the best Pulsar they made. And I'm so excited to be driving one. They're so fun. They're so engaging. And what I really like is that this is from the 90s. This is the era right before everything started getting digital. And so this really offers a really, really raw driving experience. Modern cars are faster. Modern cars are better in a lot of ways. But driving feel, I really feel like was lost in the mid-90s and then on out. And so this car really captures it. It feels all mechanical, even though it has that turbo, even though it has all-wheel drive. When I drive this thing, I really feel like it is just me and the car. There's no traction control systems, there's no ABS. It's just me, the car, and the road. And that is what I look for in a car. This is probably one of the best hatchbacks I've ever driven, ever. And it's a little 1990 Nissan. Well, I want to thank you guys so much for watching the video. Huge thank you to Cody for letting me take this thing out. I really want one now. I really want one. But I hope you guys enjoyed it. Don't forget to rate the video, comment on the video, and subscribe if you really like to. Take care.
There goes a sight from my soul.